Welcome back, everyone, to the Palacio Vista Alegre in the third place match between Vitality and Misfits. Vitality have bounced back after losing the first game and are now just one win away from taking the series. As we get into the possibly deciding game for this series, we wanted to take a look at the factors that have been the most influencing and the most important on each side. And again, if Vitality bring this home and Fnatic win tomorrow, the rookies are at Worlds. And one of those rookies is the guy that I want to start by talking about, Jiizuke. We were looking at him as possibly being a weak point for Vitality, a guy that in the playoffs has not been able to shine. Today it is a different story.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to the fact that he was usually playing for the team. But today we have seen, especially in the last game here on the LeBlanc, that when he plays for more of a selfish style and a carry style, he just completely pops off in the game. And I think I touched a bit on it in the pregame. When Vitality is successful, it's usually when Jiizuke has more freedom in the early game and in the mid game, where he doesn't just get three-man ganked by the enemy team and just dies and falls behind. Here, he's the guy getting ahead and he's the guy carrying.
I've been really impressed with Jiizuke so far in this series. I feel like that we've seen a wide range of champions from him. One of the criticisms that we did have was that he'd had a bit of a limited champion pool. His playstyle is very linear. And so far in this series, he's kind of debunked that, showed that he is able to be both a utility player and a big solo carry as well.
I agree. Brought out the Syndra, the Yasuo, and the Zilean, and he's been not that successful on the Syndra, but the whole of Vitality went under in game one. But he's really put his stamp on these games. And then, of course, we need to talk about the guy on the other side. Sencux has always been a bit of a problem area for Misfits at certain times. The CS difference, every game is going the wayside of Jiizuke, which gives him basically all the freedom to do what he wants. So that is all, well, in Jiizuke's camp, he's playing a fantastic series so far.
I do think that Sencux had a better performance on the Yasuo. He was able to much better hold his own, but many of the fights that Misfits tried to force last game just weren't at the right time. A single item Yasuo versus a single item LeBlanc, Jiizuke is always going to come out on top.
And I will say though, even though we criticize him in these games, he also doesn't get a lot of help from his team and also in the draw phase. Often he's the guy who has to blind pick and Jiizuke gets the counter pick. And I think as much as we criticize him for how he plays sometimes, he's not put in a good spot by his teammates as well, and how he's set up in the draw phase. So for me, I'm a little skeptical on it.
Well, I think that is fair. We have to see what happens in game 4. Another player I want to look at that we had very high hopes for is Mikyx. He could be the deciding factor, especially after game 1, where he almost single-handedly turned the game around or made the game in the bottom lane with his Rakan. Since then, it's been a bit more hit and miss.
Yes, it certainly has been. His Alistar in last game was very... he tried to force a lot of plays that I feel like the team weren't in a position to do so. And while his Rakan has been very impressive, we haven't seen that same level of performance yet with his other support picks.
The biggest issue I have with it is the fact that he's playing very aggressive, and that's a lot of times good. But when you have a composition that relies more on scaling, they have the Tristana on their side. We often talk about the fact that you need to reach 3 items for this champion really to come online. Where on the other hand, we have Kai'Sa, who can be strong on 1 item and 2 items. And I think they were trying too much to match the early aggression of Vitality, when in reality they have more of the scaling picks on their side. So it's really coin flip at times.
It is difficult, and I think it goes back to what you said about Sencux for Mikyx. It also goes back to the choices that the team makes to approach these games. Now, you guys at Analyst, what do you think of the fact that now again for the Tristana, kind of the reckless style, right? Again, for that, help me out here, the Ezreal in game 2. Thank you for that. So the things that are more scaling, again, we thought maybe they'd change it up. Why do you think they keep doing it?
So I think that when Kalista and Draven are banned away, they're kind of forced onto these picks that are still fine in lane, can give you advantages, but they're not the best to play through. And Kold and I were talking a lot about how the bigger issue is the fact that Attila keeps getting his hands on Kai'Sa, a champion that at 2 items seems to be having a much bigger impact on a lot of these skirmishes and fights. And I feel you need to consider either picking it yourselves or just banning it entirely.
I agree, and I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that we see continuously that Misfits always want to play strong bot lane. But in the 2 last games, they're actually giving away the lane priority over to Vitality's side. And then in this game, it was all about Sencux in the early game, because Yasuo actually can match the LeBlanc in the early game if you play around it with the Sejuani and Alistar. And that was what we saw. But it doesn't really work towards what we have seen working for them in the playoffs, which is strong bottom lane, play towards this, we haven't seen a champion like Varus, for example. I think this is easily a champion you can try to pull off and get this lane priority and play around it.
I think that's a great point. We see Yamato there. He also knows, well, my Jiizuke is playing a lot of things, and they're going to have to throw maybe some bans his way, which allows us then to make sure that bottom lane can never get the things that they excel on. So that is also kind of the play that goes on when you are 4 games deep in a best of 5. But point of the matter is, Vitality is on match point. We talked about they're a streaky team. They're an emotional team. Right now, it's a party. All they have to do is bring it across the finish line.
Yes, and there are 2 clear ways that we believe they can do it. Number 1 is getting a counter pick for Jiizuke. We think that so far, the fact that he's been able to get a good matchup into Sencux pretty much every single game has done Vitality a lot of favors and has enabled him to succeed throughout the series.
Definitely, and I think on the other hand, just control the pace of the game. We see them constantly picking fights in the early game, even though they're not winning all of them. They understand the fact that they're actually stronger in the early game in majority of the games. And then even though sometimes it fails, they still keep pushing the pace. And I think Misfits has been kind of drawn into taking some bad fights once in a while, and that really shows what Vitality wants to do in these games, just push the lead.
Yeah, volatile early games going the ways of Vitality in the recent 2 games, which brought them to match point. So now it's for Misfits. We talked so much about the fact that this whole year could be a disappointment if they are not able to bring it back and start here today. And, well, they are 1 game away. This is arguably one of the most important moments of their split. What do they have to do?
Oh, wow, the biggest thing for me is they need to play through bot lane. They need a strong lane to actually play around, because so far they haven't actually been enabling any of their laners in the early game. And I think it's been given Vitality way too much freedom in terms of making early game plays. Game 1 was the best case where we saw that and they stomped Vitality. But since then, the Draven and the Kalista have always been taken off the board. No more Zyra Khan. And the fact that Mikyx and Hansam are not getting strong picks that you can just camp or enable, I think is a real detriment to this Misfits
And we know going into the next game that they will be on the blue side, and I think what people either see is them going towards something like the Varus or take away the Kai'Sa. I think the second is probably more likely, that they will maybe first pick the Kai'Sa, because it has been looking way too strong on the side of Vitality.
Absolutely huge game on match point. Let's see if Vitality can secure 3rd place as we head down to our casters.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. Back at the caster desk with myself, Quickshot, Deficio, and Ender. And of course, the players are setting up on stage. Gentlemen, this is match point now. Vitality, they are 1 win away, and hopefully 1 series away from Worlds. They need Fnatic to win tomorrow. This is the first time that a team has chosen blue side this series. The choice selection was up to Misfits. Deficio, I'm going to turn to you first. What do you think their plan is? What is on their mind when pivoting and going blue?
Well, if you are Misfits, first picking Alistar is not necessarily bad on your side, but then you give away Kai'Sa Braum again, which you didn't really have a good answer for in the last game. Still, I think if you look at Misfits and their composition, the game was not lost based on draft. The game was lost based on them over-forcing in the game when they didn't have items. And that tells me scaling comms are still an issue for Misfits to play.
Yeah, I really don't like the scaling. I want to see early aggression, and that's why I think going blue side. Their 1 win was the first one of the series. They were on blue. If they can get back into that form with some more aggressive champions in the bottom lane, in the jungle that can play early, we've been saying it over and over again, that's how they get themselves a good spot.
So, do they first pick Alistar, or do they take the Kai'Sa on their side? They actually ban it completely here. Thresh is now left open.
Exactly, that's the champion. So we already had Mikyx's Rakan banned away. Now Jactroll will certainly want the Thresh, you would assume. Now we have seen Thresh paired with both Draven, which is banned, and Varus, which is a very strong kill lane, especially around that level 6 mark. It really changes things in this draft.
This is the perfect pick and ban song for Game 4, where Vitality needs to just get a 3-1 win on their side, so they have everything set in place to go to Worlds as a 2nd seed. It is once again that first pick Alistar, and I think it's smart, especially with the Kai'Sa ban.
3 games in a row, blue side first pick Alistar once again in Mickey's hands. The response last time was Braum Kai'Sa, obviously with Kai'Sa away, it's Ezreal.
And this is pretty good for Misfits now, because they should not be able to lose against this bot lane 2v2 on the side of Vitality. They can actually now rely a little bit more on Hansama to match what Attila is doing.
And with an Ezreal Braum first lock-in, this makes me think that Vitality are looking to play more through their solo laners. We already
Yes!
saw
Oh, there it is.
Jiizuke dominate in the mid lane, but maybe if they want to put Cabochard on something that can carry, this is a good game for it.
Kold asked for it, and he got it right now with the Varus. It really sets up a lot of plays around this bot lane for Misfits. You have double engaged now with Varus ulti and Alistar itself. No surprise top lane with Sjokz. But man, we look at Misfits trying to win on bottom side.
Well, you have the Varus 2 to pressure on early. There is a key change. So the Sjokz we saw dominated in game 1. Games 2 and 3 wasn't really that big of a factor, but the Sion, the CC, the tank potential that Cabochard brought to the table is something that Alphari envied and now has.
Yeah, look for Alphari to sometimes walk bot lane from base and then be another threat with ulti on his side. If they lock in the Gragas here, again, it can be swapped around to top lane as well, but Kikis Gragas had a very, very bad start to the game. He kept trying to force plays, even though he didn't have the numbers advantage on his side, and he got punished for it. Had some decent fights later, but it was an issue early game.
So the biggest question now is, what does Maxlore go for? Because it could be another situation where he picks the Sejuani, has some good impact, but isn't able to absorb resources and deal damage. That's a fine option, but what I want to see him back on something like the Graves, maybe even the Kindred, so that he can step up as a carry that we know he is for this team.
Just have to remember again, the Gragas can go top lane. It doesn't have to necessarily go jungle.
And Cabochard's actually one of the top laners that really liked this pick once it was sort of brought back into the meta. He played a bunch of games on that in the regular season.
Expecting a Trundle ban to come in from Vitality. It's something they've gone for almost every single game so far. And if it is going to be a tank jungler for Kikis, obviously the Trundle will be a good answer, but it's actually Sejuani to get rid of. So Trundle is available for Maxlore.
Now the Trundle's been available.
Kikis.
Yeah, I mean, it's been available all series long, and no junglers really wanted to go for it. It has been banned in the second rotation a few times, but largely it has fallen in priority from our other series, so I'm not actually convinced that these junglers want to go for that.
Deficio, I want you to look forward for me. I want you to take a look at this next 2 picks that Vitality have on the cards. Where do you think Gragas will land, and what do you anticipate Vitality to do?
I expect to know it after this pick here coming in from Kikis' side.
So because Misfits banned the LeBlanc, Ryze is now open. The champion that is synonymous with Jiizuke. He came in the spring split and tore apart the league with that option.
On the side of Misfits, Malzahar is then open as an answer to the Ryze, and that's why Vitality are not showing mid lane yet. It's going to be Gragas jungle, so now we know it's going to be a tank jungler for Kikis or on top lane. And if that Ryze gets picked, well, it's after we've already seen the choice from Misfits, so it's difficult now for them to actually get the counter pick against Jiizuke. Will they take Ryze on their own for Sencux?
It's a tough ask for Sencux to step up with the Ryze, but I do love the Kindred here. I asked for Maxlore to play it, and actually with the Lulu, this is what worked against Fnatic. Now they have 2 marksmen that can try to cut down the triple tank front line that Vitality are bringing to these fights.
And of course, on the side of Sencux, only 1 game this split played on Ryze. Jiizuke has the option to run it into the Lulu.
Yeah, of course he will do it. But that's, again, the smart thing about picking the Ornn. They're saying, you know what, Sencux, you're not going to pick this. You're not going to take this blind against us. We will save this last pick so we can get the champion. But this is game 1 Misfits with the Lulu. Endo, you asked for it after the last game. You said, you know what, just back on Lulu. Want to see this pick here where the focus is on Maxlore on the carry and Hansama on the other one. So now Misfits are back towards a game 1 style.
Yeah, expect Maxlore to be playing very aggressive in the river, maybe get some counter jungling down as well for the first few levels. Then once level 6 comes around, that's where bottom lane really opens up with Hansama's ultimate to set up for ganks.
Now it is important to highlight, when Jiizuke is playing Ryze, he's a fantastic split pusher. He will look to be in that side lane all game long. And when he does that, no one can match him 1v1. But you do have a lot of engage coming in from Alistar, Varus, and Sion. So it's on Misfits to force the fights when Jiizuke is going to the side lane. Otherwise, he just takes over the game.
And I have to ask everybody to think back to the tiebreaker Sunday that we had. Schalke versus Vitality and the 45-minute game where Jiizuke won it for Vitality due to side lane pressure. He basically camped in that bottom lane and performed exceptionally well. He's back on what must be his signature champion when Vitality are on match point, are 1 game away from securing 3rd place in summer.
Yamato Cannon has laid down the gauntlet here for Jiizuke, putting the carry potential on him game after game after game. He destroyed Misfits with LeBlanc in the last game with individual outplays. Now he has to be smart. He has to use his ability to go into a side lane, pressure out Misfits to come away with the win.
Let's find out if Vitality can close it out right now or if we're going to game 5. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Team Vitality taking on Misfits Gaming here in Madrid, Spain, in the Palacio Vista Alegre. You can hear the crowd behind me cheering as we load up onto the Rift.
And it's a much better setup for Misfits in terms of how the team succeeds. Carry jungler, strong bot lane to play around. Can they execute it in this game? They have to.
So already at the start, we see Vitality entering into the jungle. Gragas can start with the body slam. Jactroll on this Braum is very strong early on as well. I'm surprised we didn't see them place down a ward because I think tracking Maxlore in this early game is going to be very important to try and shut down him from scaling up and stacking up.
And I actually think on the side of Misfits, it's also going to be important to track Kikis because he showed last game with the Predator Gragas, he will gank you early. Like he tried multiple times. And if you're feeling too confident that he won't, he might surprise you, and you can't afford to fall behind, especially in the bottom lane if you're Misfits.
That's actually why we saw Maxlore actually walk to the top side and that, put down a Ghost Poro in the Pixel Brush up there. That'll give him insight if Kikis decides to go up into the top side of the river and look for an early Scuttle Crab, which he can then use to craft his own path for the best possible outcome.
So both junglers starting on bottom side, both getting leashes from their dual lanes. Both teams are fully aware. It's important for Maxlore on the carry that he has a successful early game. It's important for Kikis on the Gragas that he doesn't fall behind in this game here. It's, again, a pick that's not been super successful for Kikis specifically. But I think he got a little bit of redemption in the last game towards the team fights. Let's see Maxlore here. Expected for him to look early for topside plays. Can he invade as well?
Yeah, when you have the range advantage as a jungler with a red buff especially, it makes dueling so easy as long as your lanes have priority, which right now, top lane looks good for Misfits, but Jiizuke is crushing that mid lane push.
Exactly, he's early pushing it in, so Maxlore can't really walk into the jungle of Kikis. He will simply die then to Jiizuke's move.
We have to keep an eye on how the laning pressure plays out, because this is the first time that Alphari and Cabochard are not playing Cho'Gath into Sion. And for Alphari, as you've already mentioned, Deficio has the ability to walk his way down bot lane, use that ultimate to maybe play around the Alistar Varus, who are already trying to work on this bottom Scuttle Crab. I believe that denies a mark to Maxlore as well.
Yeah, but it will also deny a camp to Kikis. You assume with Maxlore playing around the top side at the moment, clearing away those camps, the Misfits are just going to be really happy to get that little bit of experience advantage and protection with the river, because when you pick a Varus, you expect to push in this bottom lane. They will have priority, and that leaves them vulnerable to a gank from Kikis.
Yeah, and with this Vitality draft, a lot more scaling is on their side compared to the last couple of games. And I'm definitely not expecting them, based on comps, to play as aggressive as we've seen so far during the series. They ideally want to wait for a couple of items.
But Deficio, I have to ask, maybe not based on comps, but I can see name tags. I can see Kikis, Jiizuke, Attila. Do you think they're going to be patient?
It's hard for me to answer because it's Vitality. I want to see if they do go aggressive, if that becomes their downfall.
Yeah, and actually from the way Kikis has passed, I do expect it to be very patient. He went for a full clear on the Gragas, not even looking for an early Scuttle Crab, so he is going to be a little bit down in EXP compared to Maxlore. That should make it a little bit less likely that he tries to make a play, unless one's just waiting right there for him to knock out of the park.
Well, he has the Predator now with the boots. Went back for, but yeah, we gotta say, this has been the slowest Vitality early game we've seen in all the playoffs. They haven't actually ganked anyone yet, and we're 4 minutes into the game.
This is actually really smart for Mikyx if he can spot him. He does spot Kikis, very important, and puts this ward right here to make sure that Kikis can't sneak on over that wall. But actually, Attila takes a great trade.
Yeah, a lot of damage as Attila jumps forward with that arcane shift. The pulverize comes down from Mickey, manages to land the stun as well. And the piercing arrow follows through. So Attila, flash and heal blown, straight up 2v2 win.
Really nicely done. Mickey uses the dash there, the headbutt, to get in range for Attila, then knocks him up with the pull to get the summoners out of that AD carry.
And because Varus had all three abilities ready, he could activate his W, so his Q would deal that extra damage to low targets. That's why Attila had to use both summoners. Jiizuke is controlling the mid lane, but he's not able to carry the game right now. Mikyx is roaming.
He is indeed. Oh, Kikis actually decides to go forward.
That's aggressive.
Is this problematic? The flash body slam. That's a flash over the wall from Maxlore. Trying to throw down Wolf if he can. Not going to be able to follow it up just yet. Now Jiizuke is in trouble. He gets caught by the Glibons.
Jactroll's coming
on too. But with Jactroll's help, it's Mickey that goes down. First blood to Jiizuke. Blast Cone's going to be used by Maxlore, but he's going deeper into enemy territory. Varus over the wall. Will he be able to deny? He's taken damage fairly recently, though.
Yeah, he's trying to get that execute. The rest of Vitality are still actually trying to chase him down, but it has been long enough, it certainly feels like, but he doesn't get it. The kill goes to Jiizuke, a disaster for Misfits.
Such a bad start here, and a big thing around that mid lane was they were hoping Sencux could join them when it came down to finishing Kikis, but he was blocked by Jiizuke. He was standing between the two aggressive members on Misfits and then the passive mid laner. And then Kikis survives, and by Jactroll roaming from the bottom side, they can turn it around and get 2 kills on the Ryze. Look at the play here again. They know that Kikis will try and flash over the wall and escape, but if Sencux is able to join them when they're actually fighting him, they will kill him. But he's getting blocked. Minion wave, Jiizuke, so it's only 2 players and they don't have the damage.
Damage reduction off of Kikis' belly chug there keeps him alive, and then Jiizuke can make this turn. Mikyx has no flash. Remember, he used that to make the play, but it's just too aggressive.
Oh, and how fortunate is it that Jiizuke picks up the 2nd kill as well, the last person to tag and kill Maxlore. Now, of course, taking a look at Jiizuke, his carry performances this series have already been very, very impressive. If you look, game 1, game 2, game 3, plus 16, plus 38, plus 9, CSD at 15. The anti-playoff buff? Well, that's definitely not true. And gentlemen, we talked about his Ryze. 6 games played this year. It's been banned against Vitality, what feels like an eternity. And Deficio, 7.1 KDA, 4 wins, 2 losses. And those are pretty stellar stats in your first professional year.
Very, very true. Jiizuke is a fantastic Ryze player, and he cannot ask for a better start. But again, on the side of Misfits, looking for that aggressive play without any mid lane control really hurt them.
Once you fall down, actually, on a jungler like this Kindred, it becomes very difficult to have that same, confidence going in for those types of plays. He's only level 5 on the Kindred. Yes, he has the red buff, but if he ever tries to make a play now without the flash, it is so easy to punish him on that silent champion.
Now, while we were in that replay where Jiizuke got the double, Cabochard did go all in on Alphari. He wasn't able to pick up the kill, but he was able to get him down very, very low, 200 odd hit points or so. Cabo is teleported back to the top lane. Alphari opted to use his ultimate.
And despite the little setback from Misfits, the plan is still the same. Bot lane is where you need to win. They're still having push constantly. Hansama is level 6 now. The only thing you're missing is Mikyx's ulti and his flash. But apart from that, you have the tools to actually bully out Vitality's bottom lane and try and secure this bot lane turret.
But the key for them, I really feel like, has to be to actually get the priority out of mid lane, because if Jiizuke is just shoving in these waves endlessly, he can realm warp down there and actually really turn these types of fights, these types of plays that Misfits want to make around. So we're going to have to see Maxlore actually visit mid lane first to help Sencux get that shove, and then use that window where Jiizuke still has to clear away the waves in order to set up for that type of dive or play around bot.
Yeah, it's so hard for him, because if he goes mid and Kikis is there, you lose the 2v2. With Jiizuke now getting a bunch of early kills on his side, and Sencux sitting on absolutely nothing at this point. He will go back soon, have to assume, and start building towards Luden's Echo. But it's a tough spot around mid lane because of the kills. They still have that winning bot, and it has to be a successful play that gives them a bot lane turret that actually snowballs Misfits forward.
Well, Misfits are 600 gold down, despite being 2 kills down. The CS advantage for Hansama has allowed the Berserker's Greaves and the recurve bow to be picked up. It's only a 200 difference. And you can see the gold differences between the respective lanes. Not that monumental. It hasn't equated into a big enough itemization spike just yet. And every time I see Kikis on screen, I hold my breath, because it doesn't matter what time of the game it is, only 9 minutes in. There's always a potential for Kikis doing that.
Yeah, he's ready to make a play. They put down deep vision to set up for Jiizuke to roam into this bottom lane. The bot lane, Hansama and Mikyx expect this, and they're going to have to back away and sacrifice an entire minion wave just because of that threat.
Look at the defensive vision being set up by Misfits. They've got 2 control wards around that bottom lane tower. So respectful play, understanding Vitality's play style and decision-making. Misfits don't fall prey, but they are losing pressure in the lane that they're meant to have pressure.
It's what Ender talked about before. Mid lane priorities in favor of Vitality, making it so much harder to play on the bottom side. Now it is traded. It's now actually Sencux and Maxlore push, so they can move down and kill some of the vision on the bottom side. But they want to set up this play, and man, they also want to get that ulti on Mikyx.
Yeah, they definitely love to. Now, I do want to say that Vitality showed a lot of growth right there, because in their series against Sjokz, they made a mistake. They didn't have deep vision to set it up. Now Kikis is making a play on towards Sencux.
He is. Predator's been thrown down. Maxwell's lingering around. There's a potential player breaking out down bottom as well. Chain of Corruption lands onto Jactroll. Glacial Fissure comes out. Hunsummer's not knocked up, but Jactroll is. He's now trying to run for his life. Stunned down by that Alistar passive. Jactroll down to 200 hit points. Hunsummer decides not to flash for the kill. The Ignite will not secure. While all that was going on, the 2v2 was trading back and forth in the mid lane as well.
And Kikis actually lost that flash in the engage because Sencux and Maxlore were grouped together to try and bully him out of the river. That gave space for the bot lane of Misfits to make that really aggressive trade.
And I just want to quickly highlight some stats. When Hunsummer has won games this series with Misfits, it's when Maxlore has spent time around him, with him. Stats team did just ping me and talk a little bit about the jungle proximity in their win. 21% from Maxlore. Maxlore this game spending a little bit more time around that mid lane, and this time around, Hunsummer's coming to meet him.
He wants that mark, man, but all of Vitality is grouped up, guarding that camp to keep it safe. But yes, Hunsummer has been so good, but Misfits need kills on him. He's on a champion that can do much better in the early to mid game than the Tristana, but he doesn't have that same setup to get him to the powerful itemization he needs to really do well in fights.
Trying to show the replay, there was some potential fighting around the mid lane. Actually turned into a fight when Kikis jumped in and instantly had to flash out. So his flash is gone. There's a small advantage for Misfits, but the mid lane trading is heavily in favor of Jiizuke. And we still didn't get that advantage around the bottom lane we needed from Misfits.
So a little bit worrying for the Misfits side, but I have to ask a question. Kikis, that's twice now we've seen him body slam forward and then instantly run away. Now the last time it worked out, right? There was enough members of Vitality around for Jiizuke to pick up that double kill. Need to see if that comes back to haunt him if he oversteps later in the series.
Yeah, we know that Kikis is a very aggressive player, sometimes a little bit too much, and that's why I actually wanted to bring it back to the fact that they were getting the deep vision to set up for some nice plays, which is something that really cost them in their series against Sjokz. Again, you just saw Jactroll do very similar things to scout out the red buff from Maxlore, so we'll have to see whether or not Kikis wants to make a play there.
So much damage. Now, Wild Growth and Cleanse still in Sencux's, back pocket, so it would need a lot more for Jiizuke to take him up, but just look at how much control this is giving Vitality.
Yeah, he's just forcing him back so he gets to push first, and he can move first to join a potential fight. It is so hard for Misfits to do anything.
Going to be unable to defend themselves. Vitality are now actually surrounding Mikyx and Hunsummer. Teleport coming in from Alphari. Jactroll is the first target. Gets a two-man knockup with the Fissure. Sencux is stuck on the onside of the jungle, and Misfits with their first kill. Maxlore, he's flashing over the wall.
No
Unstoppable
flash.
onslaught. It's going to turn his attention to Kikis. No flash, remember, because he used it in the mid lane engage. That's a double kill for Sencux.
Double kill for Sencux, and it sets Misfits up. Try and steal away this blue buff, take the Drake for themselves, and maybe even that bottom lane turret. That's the best case scenario for Misfits.
Yeah, that TP advantage from Alphari was huge because Vitality walked into that jungle again, trying to stop a red buff. Misfits knew we can actually react. They will get bot lane turret down as well if they fully commit to it. Another wave, it's on its way.
And it seems like a bit of a miscommunication there too from Vitality, because at the start of the play, Cabochard was actually running down to try and group up with them. But then at the same time, Jactroll got knocked back into the rest of the team. He'd already left back towards top, and Alphari was able to punish with the TP.
And earlier in this game, we mentioned how based on the draft, Vitality, they don't need to do a whole lot in this early game other than just make sure Jiizuke can push his lane. But based on the team and the players, they will try. And they walk into this red buff knowing they have control of mid, but they're not respecting the TP on the side of Alphari. And the moment it comes down, everyone scatters and try and run away, and that suddenly means two members are caught.
Just getting those kills on Sencux too, and he was struggling in this mid lane matchup. You saw Jiizuke punishing him time after time. Jiizuke got donated that double kill very early on into the match, so this will hopefully neutralize those future rotations that Jiizuke wants to make.
And now Misfits, after getting bot lane turret, did not lose anything in return because you had two members dead on Vitality, so they could go top side. Riftell is still alive. They can now play around this side with the strong bot lane they have. They have tower dive potential with Mikyx on the Alistar and his ulti. One big play in their favor, they get turret and a rift held, and suddenly this game is just so heavily in their favor.
Well, Misfits are already 1,000 gold up thanks to that previous play. They were in fact 1,000 gold down.
But the response can be a mid lane turret soon. Jiizuke is dealing a lot of damage to it. Can Misfits buy enough time though? Can they get rift held?
The answer is no, because gentlemen, Vitality want to fight. Vitality want to fight. Teleport comes in from Cabochard. The Ornn Horn is called. Hunsummer forced to flash, no knockup. The blue buff gets triggered to chase down Maxlore. All of a sudden, there's a body slam onto Alphari. He flashes over the wall. Root comes down into Mikyx. He's going to use that ultimate defensively, not to tower dive, not to push the lead. Instead, just to save his life.
Misfits get away with murder right there. They have to use some summoner spells, but getting the Herald is so important. 2 flashes, if they can get a tower in exchange, is 100% worth it for them.
Let's see what happens right after this and where they can actually place down the Herald, because right now they have to return from base after everyone having to effectively flash out and run back. Cabochard had a good ulti on Ansama, but this is actually a play from before. This is the no TP on top side from Cabo means Vitality, when they're actually playing aggressive, well, they're going to be outnumbered. So you get the play.
And you actually saw Cabochard walking back up into the top lane. Oh, let's check this one out, because Alphari, he comes in for the ulti. He misses a little bit, but it's still enough to lock down this kill onto Kikis. And that led into a great situation where Misfits used the numbers advantage to take a tower, rotate top, get a Herald. Now, where are they going to use that Herald? That's the big question.
Well, look for Alphari to push the bot lane and then either go mid or top and place down that Herald. He can go straight mid if he wants now, or he can simply recall, ult up towards the top lane, set up a play there, and then Herald after. There's a lot of ways for Misfits to continue snowballing this, and they have to, because they're only 100 gold ahead.
And mid lane's going to be the call. You see Attila top lane, Cabochard bottom lane. There's 5 members of Misfits grouped up mid. They have the Herald to try and knock this down, and maybe even try to go for a team fight, which they're feeling very strong at the moment.
And you can feel the rumble here in Spain as the wave is doing the rounds. Now the boop from the Rift Herald, not enough to kill a tower just yet. There wasn't enough of a minion wave to work with either. Misfits, they still maintain some semblance of control, but where is this Realm Warp? It is chasing onto Maxlore. Whoa! Decimating smash, disengage for that one. I really wanted a fight to break out, but kudos to Alphari.
That was so sick. The man doesn't have flash, but he doesn't care. He sticks right there, and now, because Vitality are down by Dragon, Misfits are going in.
All of a sudden, this is Jiizuke in trouble. Chain of Corruption starting to
He's alive!
Damage applied. Call of the Forge God knocks up the carry for Misfits. Alphari comes in.
Whoa.
Looking for a decimating smash. It gets interrupted. The Lamb's Respite is buying a lot of time, but all of a sudden Alphari will go down, will get taken out, and Misfits, they are unable to turn it around. Attila, Arcane shifts forward, looking for a kill into Mikyx, but he can't get enough damage.
Misfits saw a huge opening right there, but they didn't realize that after the initial engage, they couldn't actually follow into a choke point. They were standing with Jactroll in front, with the Braum here just defending Jiizuke, and while Alphari got to the backline, no one could follow.
No, you need Alphari standing in front of your carries. The front line has to be there for Misfits. They also went for the aggressive call. It would have been an easy tower secure had they not gone for the engage, had they just walked up and hit that tower, but instead they made the turn after this insane setup from
Yeah,
Alphari.
that's the first play where it's the greatest disengaged Sion Q
Ever.
we've seen.
Insane.
It then turns into a fight, and Mikyx thinks they can one-shot Jiizuke, but Jactroll will jump in, block the remaining damage, and the ulti from Cabochard as well is perfect to stop the carries, and now you can't follow.
I mean, it looks great from Alphari in the backline too, until you realize there's no one else there for him. He's gonna get CC'd and not really be able to get the greatest of channels off on that knockup, and the whole fight just fizzled out there from what looks like a really great start.
That's unfortunate for Misfits. They couple plays in a row now that they're, you know, swing and a miss, trying to build something up. It's 18 minutes in. Vitality have clawed back that small goal deficit that they had, and we're getting into a very close, very entertaining mid-game. All of our previous games at this point had basically been decided. The previous games this series, by 18 minutes in game, the team that had the several thousand gold lead went on to win it out. So let's see what these teams are like with an even footing in the mid-game.
Yeah, this only benefits Vitality right now with their draft, and especially with Jiizuke on 3 kills, fully stacked tier. He's in that side lane already, and he's gonna be a monster. No one can stop him 1v1, so Misfits have to force team fights with 5 members.
And their 5 members, their team fights look really strong with double marksman, Lulu, and an insane frontline of Alistar Sion. They have the tools to engage, they have the damage to back it up, but there's also a lot of disengage from Vitality to try and thwart those attempts.
Yeah, I really like that gold graph showing you it's 1,000 gold either way, and it has swung back and forth. Each team has made a play or punished a proactive play. And right now, Hansama's in so much trouble. Teleport is coming down up in the top lane, but I think it won't be enough. It won't be early enough, and Alphari will not be able to join. So that's Hansama down.
Yeah, so Misfits were getting pushed in mid, and Hansama continued just pushing top, not respecting Vitality to just move up in the river and actually kill him. And it's once again Vitality with the control in this game, and it is punishing these mistakes.
And they're making plays on both sides of the map because they get the kill top, Jiizuke splitting down bottom lane, because as you said, Alphari can just try his best to clear waves, but really doesn't stand a chance up against this Ryze. So Vitality are now the ones in the driver's seat, and with some very low turrets, can knock those down to try and balloon a gold lead.
Oh, this will soon be a big goal lead for Vitality unless Misfits find that perfect opening, but it doesn't look like it right now. The engage has to come from Mikyx or a Sion ulti flying in from the side.
And it's not worked yet. Misfits have not found that opportunity. Vitality, one dead Nexus away from third seed, one dead Nexus away from improving on their spring split performance and really, showing up in the second half of summer. Of course, remember, Kikis has joined the team. Had a stat from the stats team coming into this game that this year, Vitality have played 21 games in playoffs. Deficio, do you know the previous iterations of Vitality played a total of 4 playoff games in the EU LCS? It has been a very successful year already, but the cherry on the cake is making it to Worlds, and that means win here, and then become Fnatic's biggest fans tomorrow.
Let's see with Mikyx trying to get over the wall, but back in the Ryze, he can't actually do it. Or get on to Jactroll at least.
Misfits really want this mid turret.
Because again, this is the answer. They're moving Alphari in, they're sacrificing the bottom side, trying to force a play.
So what do Misfits do? Group mid and force the fight under the tower.
All right, Unstoppable Onslaught comes down. The Glacial Fissure went defensive route for Jactroll. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. Hansama's Chain of Corruption spreads and he manages to pick up the first kill. Now stepping forward, Call of the Forge God catches 2. Mikyx's going to be taken out as he goes back in, buying some time. Knocks Attila backwards, but all of a sudden Misfits have got the Maxlore. The Lamb's Respite just in time. Saves Misfits' lives, but Jiizuke and Attila are very healthy. Red buff on Attila means those Mystic shots are going to do so much work.
Attila's still jumping forward. Jiizuke gets the realm work. Sencux is isolated, but he has the flash to try and escape from this fight.
That was a 2-for-1 win here, Misfits. If Sencux can actually stay alive, but Kikis, he's getting close.
Well, there is a tower in the top lane to work it. The Glitter Lance will buy some time. The rest of Vitality can easily tower dive. It looks like Jiizuke is going to come up to work with him, though. I think it's just a matter of time. That's right, Sencux will stay alive a few seconds longer. Jiizuke will be donated the kill. This will be the 4th of his game, and instead it's Kikis that secures it.
So 2 for 2, both TPs used on the side of Vitality to collapse. They will also get a top lane turret. And they're just showing right now. They don't even have to stick to split push. They can actually try and match some of the team fighting.
Yeah, it just ends up being an exactly even trade overall because the turret in the mid lane fell down in favor of Misfits. These fights are going to be bloody. These fights are going to be long. But now that Sencux has the Ardent Sensor for his double marksman, they're going to look slightly better for Misfits.
He's missing a rage split on his AD carry, but it's going to be there soon. This is what we talk about. 5 men together, that's how you stop split push. Important to note, Vitality don't have to TP in here. They can actually just say, fine, we lose our support, it's okay, we can push bottom side. But they feel confident taking the fight. 4 versus 5, and Cabochard is playing this perfectly in the backline, seizing 3 members for so long.
The important thing here is that Attila and Jiizuke are basically full, but Hansam and Sencux were taken so low by Cabochard's Ornn that makes them on the defensive running away, but you can't very well run away from an Ezreal and a Ryze.
No, so difficult to do so, especially when Attila's Ezreal also had the red buff. Deficio, during the course of that replay, Hansama did pick up the Rage Blade, so 2-item spike for Sencux and Hansama.
Yeah, so that is huge, and Mikyx's flash is ready. You now have your other way of starting a fight that is not just Alphari ulting from lane. That is huge. If Misfits, despite being down now, can actually force a team fight and use this Varus to win, they still have a way to get back in this game. If that doesn't happen, Jiizuke and Vitality will just continue getting further and further ahead and win through split push.
I'll take a look at this. Mountain Drake is up. Vitality already have a cloud under their belt. Just a reminder that tomorrow, Fnatic take on Schalke. Fnatic defending their title from spring against the new challengers up-and-comers Schalke 04. Amazing is on the verge of being the first player ever to win an NA and EU LCS title, but it would mean toppling the titans that are Fnatic. And of course, that's what Vitality does not want, Ender, because Vitality want to go to Worlds and they want Fnatic to win. And let's see if Vitality can fend off this pressure.
Yeah, they're thinking about going in for this fight, but the rest of Misfits don't want to give up any ground. Right now, they have control around this barren area, but are being slowly pushed back here for Vitality because Kikis still has the body slam flash, still has the cast to find an engagement.
Yeah, looking at the vision, there's not a great amount of wards really on either side around the Baron Pit. It's 25 minutes into the game. 2.5, 3 items picked up. By the way, Jiizuke just bought his Void Staff within the last 60 seconds. Chain of Corruption misses. It's not the first time and it's not the last time you'll see a Varus ultimate go wide.
Obviously, it isn't Hansama's job to actually be the main engage right here. Mikyx isn't near Kikis.
Oh, holding that pressure. Jiizuke's in the top lane. If he shows, all of a sudden Misfits pull the trigger. Can Vitality respond quickly enough? Mikyx goes very, very low. He's holding onto his own ultimate. All of the Forge Guard comes out. 1, 2, 3, slow 2, knocked up. Round Warp comes down from Jiizuke.
Here we go!
He's already in trouble. Lands less, but not going to be close enough to save Mickey's life. All of a sudden, Misfits, this might just be them done. Double kill for Jiizuke. And all of a sudden, Vitality can peel back for Baron.
Vitality have it all. They took out the bottom lane, the main playmakers from Misfits. Now they're on the Baron. Maxlore has no chance of stealing this objective away.
Oh, Jiizuke was hoping Maxlore would walk into the river, try and get close to the Baron. He would just kill him instantly. It is dropping low. Here we go. Maxlore on his way, but he can't get there in time.
Oh, this is so close. Maxlore still got that flash, but now he's trying to put some damage down. Actually, that's a kill onto Jactroll. Baron is already secured, though. But look at Jiizuke! He just destroys Maxlore. Alphari flashes over the wall once more, and Vitality are looking to chase. Kikis with a body slam. Can he find the target? Gletzelance will be used to slow him down, and instead Vitality, 6,000 gold up. Baron already secured, and they're pushing for the base.
Yeah, and this whole thing starts again with Misfits. Never fully able to commit properly to the fight. Missing ults here and there, not getting the proper engage with Mikyx. And Vitality, they know. Oh, they just failed the main thing they have to do to win the game. We can now respond. We can now win the fight. They're trying again.
Well, let's take a look. Is there some sort of recourse? Finally, Jiizuke goes down. It's a shutdown as well. That's huge.
Attila?
Attila takes down Mikyx. Now he's trying to look for a little bit more damage. Summer and Sencux back away. Wild Growth was already used. And Vitality, with 3 minutes still to play with and a lot of gold to spend, they back out.
I have to say, though, Hansama just picked up 800 gold off the shutdown kill onto Jiizuke. If Misfits have a chance, have a hope of coming back in this game, defending from the Baron, and making us go to a game 5, it is going to be off of Hansama with that shutdown money.
And let's see whether or not they can, because it is a difficult position to be in. And one thing that is good for Misfits is they do have their inhibitor turrets still left to defend and use that power of Hansama. Now, this was the reply kill.
This was the kind of play they hoped for earlier before they lost the Baron. The flash engage onto someone like Jiizuke, and they actually do manage to lock him down in time and kill him. But obviously still lose something in the end, and that's the problem when you're this far down. You're never really getting just a 1-for-0 in your favor.
That damage from Attila, man, jumping forward with the Mystic Shot, so strong right now with his 3 core items, double tiers stacking away with the second one, and they still have the Baron buff to play with.
You talked about 3 items there, and Hansama has the Hurricane now to back up the Rage Blade and Blade of the Ruined King. One last stand, one last set of defense for Misfits is all that remains before they are dropped to the first round of the regional qualifier if they lose this series.
You have to remember, when Hansama wants to stand still and auto-attack, that Ornn ulti from Cabochard has been on point in this game. He had to constantly stop this backline from dealing damage.
Now, Mikyx used his flash to get the kill on Jiizuke. That's why he's playing in the Fog of War. He has Hex Flash, so if he can find an engagement, that would be the tool he can use. But he stepped right into vision, so Vitality are going to play a little more cautiously.
Yeah, and he will get spotted by the control ward on the right side as well. If he tries to move up near the wall, actually tried to find a ward himself with his own control ward, he'll get killed.
So Jiizuke now back in the top lane. This is what we want to see from Vitality. They have Baron buffs. They're going to use that to push in the top wave, look for another tower. Misfits, though, ideally want to force fights.
And honestly, at this point, Hansama just has to ult. Like, that is now, because you have no flash on Mikyx, the way to start the fight here.
Oh! Defensive flash from Hansama means the explosive cast doesn't send him into Vitality's waiting hands, but Jiizuke is going to be able to secure a tower. Chain of Corruption starts to sprint. Cabochard, not necessarily the best target. Here comes Jactroll. Call of the Forge God comes out and knocks up Hansama. Hansama's low, not dead yet. Lamb's Respite keeps him alive. That was fantastic timing from Maxlore. But all of a sudden, Jiizuke is tearing apart Misfits. Attila's got the first kill, manages to find a second kill, and Alphari and Zombie.
They're still going!
Here comes a Realm Warp. Attila jumps all the way forward. Arcane shifts back out. This will open up the base in favor of Vitality.
There's a teleport coming into the top lane. Vitality want at least 2 inhibitors, 4 members to the 3 on the side of Misfits, but Hansama is low, or Attila rather, is low on mana. Can Misfits do anything?
Oh, let's see. Maxlore is dancing around. He has no ulti.
All right, first inhibitor's just about to fall down. One belly boop away. Maxlore's trying to do what he can. The piercing arrow from Hansama drops Jiizuke low. It will only be 1 inhibitor for now, but it is all Vitality need to break open the base.
Yeah, and we're seeing these fights here. It's a single damage dealer. Hansama trying to burn through massive tanks on the other side, while Jiizuke and Attila are able to take down the Misfits front line in time. He's simply not able to deal enough damage right now with the team being behind. This is the initial start here where the flash is being forced, and We call for Ansama's ult to start the fight. He gives it to us, but now they're only dealing with tanks.
And it's actually a really awkward setup here for Vitality with Attila on the side, but Misfits are actually really slow to go onto him. They focus down the support in Jactroll, so now he's sitting over the wall, throwing out Mystic shots. Jiizuke is untouched as well, so they're able to clean up in this fight and eventually bring in both carries to force Misfits away.
That's the problem. You might kill the one tank in the front, but there's still 2 fit carries behind the tanks. Both Attila and Jiizuke have shown great team fights during this series. And we keep talking about Jiizuke because he's the big story with him going back to carries, but Attila is just constantly able to actually do so much in these fights.
And seeing, of course, Jactroll go back to something a little more understandable and expected.
Give me that Braum Alistar Jactroll every time, man.
The Leona game 1 of this series is long but forgotten. Right place at the right time. And I think the whole Vitality team needs some praise. Cabochard's 3 games of Sion, a little bit underspoken or whatever because the game was really about the other players on the squad, but his Call of the Forge Gods on this Ornn have been team fight changing.
Exactly. Now he's here to group up with the team and let Jiizuke be the man on the other side of the map. Look at this. Jiizuke actually waiting in the brush, waiting for the rest of Misfits to show themselves. Then he can set up that push and try to just choke Misfits out across the board.
And Ender, we talked about Jiizuke's split push Ryze, how he's done that multiple times in the past, and it has led to the last few team fights. Jiizuke again pushing the top lane, flash available for Mikyx, but he needs to find a crucial target.
Exactly, and Jiizuke, the man without flash, is not here, so you can't go for him instantly. He will be spotted now, knowing that he put down the control ward.
What are Vitality most scared of? It's a flank from Mikyx and a TP flank from Alphari. They have control wards littered in the lane to make sure that Alphari can't sneak in from behind. So Misfits, all their tools are going to be coming straight at the face of Vitality.
Misfits have already been pulled across the map multiple times this series and have been found wanting. A couple of times in games 2 and games 3, it's Vitality that got the advantage by playing multiple lanes at once.
And Mikyx is trying to threaten against Jiizuke without the flash, saying, hey, I can actually combo you and we can maybe kill you in that side lane. He's even moving behind him. Maxlore's there with him. It's a 2v1 on that side, while the rest of Misfits try to defend bot.
Alphari and Hansama need to do something to stop this bottom lane push. Call of the Forge God comes out, and once again, not going to find the target. All of a sudden, Jiizuke stays alive. He's managed to find the way back in, and Alphari is already down. He's in zombie Sion mode. 5 versus 4. Vitality are on the cusp of taking the series.
And all their engaged tools are down. No flash on Mikyx. 4 members here without an Alphari to soak up the damage. The minions are in the base. The inhibitors are down. Vitality are looking for more than just this. They're looking for the win.
Oh, they're getting the 3rd inhib right now. Jiizuke will take it down.
There's no chain of corruption on the side of Hansama. No flash either. Kikis is going to respect the potential damage and flashes over the wall. Baron is alive. 3 inhibitors are down, and Vitality, with a 10,000 gold lead, want to finish this one out clean, not run the risk of being aced at the Nexus.
Now, Misfits have about 30 seconds before super minions start getting into their base. During this time, they can put down some vision, so they're grouped up, trying to spread out and clear these wards away. But Vitality are still staying here, still posturing in the river to try and stop Misfits from getting down that vision.
Alphari's got that teleport available to him if he wants to jump into a fight. Jiizuke's in the top lane. Chain of Corruption is going to connect on the Kikis, but it's simply not long enough time. Look at the damage of the Hansama. True Shot Barrage destroys his HP bar. Call of the Forge God comes out, and Hansama's knocked up in the air. Jactroll maybe having enough.
He's killed by Jactroll!
And he does! Jactroll does it! Lamb's Respite not going to be thrown down by Maxlore, but it simply will not be enough to save Misfits' hopes. And the base is being focused down. Maxlore is dead, and Vitality have just done it.
Jiizuke is still in the base. It's just Alphari here trying to defend away from this, but Jiizuke is chunking the towers. The rest of Vitality are on the way. This is it, Trevor.
It is a matter of time. Vitality have silenced the summer split critics, have improved upon their spring split 4th place, and for Vitality it is a matter of time. Jiizuke looks to blow up Sencux, takes him out underneath the fountain, and Vitality are one step closer to Worlds. Vitality are your 3rd best team in Europe.
And so much credit and respect to Jiizuke. Look at the man. He gets to play carries. He gets to show that he can get Vitality towards Worlds. They only need Fnatic to win the split, and then they will be Europe's 2nd seed. What a performance from the team, and it's fantastic to see them celebrate.
Vitality, 4th in spring, 3rd in summer, are so much closer to Worlds. What a development and an improvement for a team that was new to the LCS, was promoted. The majority of these players came in under the Giants moniker. Were picked up by the Vitality organization. 2 top 4 places in the 2018 season is to be proud of.
100%. And man, I love the fact that in game 3, Yamato Cannon says to Jiizuke, you're getting LeBlanc, you're gonna carry this game. He carries the game. Game 4, they leave his Ryze open. We said, oh, this is scary. He gets the Ryze and he carries again.
Jiizuke's LeBlanc was so good that Misfits took away their Ryze ban that they'd done all series long, replaced it for LeBlanc, and then Jiizuke said, well, I'm just gonna play this champion, I'm gonna tear you apart.
And that's exactly what happened. We've said it multiple times, I'll just say it one more time. If Fnatic win tomorrow, Fnatic and Vitality will be your first and second seeds representing Europe at the World Championships. For Misfits, that loss means they are in round 1 of the regional qualifier and will face off against Splice next Friday when we start that back in the Berlin studio.
Exactly. Long road for Misfits if they want to make Worlds after losing this game here. They tried to play around Hansama. It wasn't successful today.
Tyler, just the better early game team fighting team on the day. You know, game 1, it looked really shaky from them, but they came back with a plan in games 2, 3, and 4. Yamato Can, I think the Glass were fantastic at shutting down every single strategy that Misfits tried to throw at them.
Seeing the emotion across the entirety of this team, across the support staff, the owners, the managers, it puts a lump in my throat. You can feel the passion these guys have, and they are tantalizingly close to showing what they have on an international stage in South Korea.
And that's what I love. It's a huge investment from the Vitality organization, and it's also an investment into European talent, saying that these young guys who just qualified with Giants at the start of 2018, they're actually good enough to make us a top team in Europe, good enough to potentially get us to Worlds. And I love the fact it's succeeding, it's working. They wanted to be in the final. They were very disappointed when they lost to Schalke, but I think this one is such a big one for them.
And how heartbreaking now, you look at that semi-final performance and you look at this 3rd place performance and you go, if you took name tags off, would you say it's the same team? It's a question we're gonna have to discuss and explore, because right now, see the celebration, huge cheers from the Vitality squad, family members of course as well.
One of the most loyal fans.
Yes.
Jactroll's
definitely the most loyal.
Jactroll's granddad. He introduced himself to me and he actually asked for a shout out last weekend.
Now he
gets a shout out now.
Here in Madrid. Now, of course, I want to turn the attention a little bit of a lens to the Misfits squad, because while Vitality's story is one of success, of development, of improvement, yes, Misfits, no playoffs in spring, 4th in summer. Regional qualifiers, they can still salvage the year by making the miracle run. But it is difficult for an organization that had the 1-year plan last year that made it to quarterfinals at Worlds Deficio for me to see exactly how they're going to do that when we already know a few of the teams in that gauntlet.
They were missing the 2-year plan, seeing as in the 2nd year when they made 2 roster changes, it's not been as successful for the team. Now, I also want to highlight, I think the competition around them has gotten better here in Europe. It's been harder for them to do what they did in 2017, but once again, it's fantastic to see a team who put so much into this, so many emotions, actually succeed.
It's fantastic. I mean, we looked at Amazing last week and his emotions after the game. Well, it feels like it's almost tenfold in this match to every single player realizing how much it means with family, with friends in the audience as well. It doesn't feel any better than that for these players.
Absolutely fantastic work. It's really great to see Vitality celebrating. And of course, we will be speaking to the players at some point in the not too distant future. We're going to relish this moment in front of the thousands of fans here in Madrid.
And I gotta say, if this team ends up making Worlds as our 2nd seed, watch out in the group stage, because these are the kind of guys going in to these best of ones who will have so many surprises ready and will just be so aggressive in the way they're playing.
Yeah, it's great too, because usually you get into Worlds and teams play a little bit slower, draft for late game. We've already seen the meta starting to shift that way. This team is stubborn. They know the way they win games, and it's through dominating in the early game, and they should change nothing if they manage to make it to the international stage.
No, I highly doubt they will. I highly doubt they will. I very much look forward So a world where Vitality are trash-talking some opponents in the
Oh,
international stage.
yeah.
That's what I hope for. Look, we want to know what you guys, who do you think should be player of the series? Head over to @LOL Esports on Twitter. And the 3 players that are nominated for this series, your 3rd place from Vitality is Jiizuke, Attila, and Cabochard. Cabochard, the unsung hero. For a little bit more on Vitality's win, we're going to send to Dracos, who's standing by with Attila.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined by the victorious Attila. Now, my friend, it all started here in Spain on Giants. You're back in Spain again, here in Madrid. How does it feel to win in front of your home crowd?
I mean, this should have been a final, you know? Like, this should have really been a final. Like, I wanted to bring it home, like here in Madrid with all the people that always believed in us when we were in the LVP. We were like smashing everyone, and we said that we will do it here as well. But it feels really good, but it feels so sad that this is not a final, and I don't know, it feels kind of confusing.
Sounds a little bittersweet, but to me, it sounds like the people here in Madrid are proud of this Vitality performance. Now, you said it yourself. These Spanish fans have been supporting you since the LVP, since you guys were crushing. Is there anything that you'd like to say to them?
Can I say it in Spanish?
Oh, of course, my friend.
Solo quería decir que vosotros sois demasiado buenos para nosotros, en serio, desde la LVP. Hace menos de un año estábamos en última plaza en la LVP y hoy en día estamos casi disputando una segunda plaza para los mundiales, por lo que si vamos allá, que sepáis que España está representada. Muchas gracias.
You just got to give it a moment to breathe. Absolutely love it, the fans here in Madrid. Now, as you well know, you are one step away from the world stage. Fnatic wins tomorrow. Vitality is Europe's 2nd seed. If that happens, what is next for you? What is next for Vitality?
I mean, tomorrow is going to be a really special day because I really want Fnatic to win. It will be a dream come true for me and for my team, but Guillote is on the other side as well, so I wish him the best. I think he'll do great series, but I just hope that Fnatic takes it home and will just crush everyone in group stages. I'm sure about that.
I think that's what every European fan wants to hear when you're talking about someone representing Europe at World. Congrats again on the win, Attila. That is going to be it from us here. Let's send it over to the casters.
Well, thank you very much, Dracos. It's fantastic to hear the confidence coming out from Attila, the crowd backing him up, supporting him as well. And I mean, after a performance like that, he deserves, he should be confident like he is there.
He played extremely well in this game. It wasn't really the guy we focused on because so much was around Jiizuke, but as we said during that last game here, in every single team fight, he was constantly positioning correctly, getting a ton of damage out, and when everyone was looking towards Jiizuke, can we kill him? Well, Attila would just take you down.
Yeah, well, let's look at some of that positioning. Let's get another look at the final fight brought to you by Acer Predator. Maxlore going on in. You gotta love it. But that's where the turn comes around for Vitality, doesn't it,
Yeah, this is obviously desperation from Misfits.
And Jactroll getting to the assassination there.
That is the best way to end the game for Jactroll because he actually started this series so poorly with the Leona pick, but he went back to comfort. Alistar, Braum, especially the Braum pick here, was actually huge for him in these fights. And of course, Jiizuke stays in the side lanes by pushing.
Of course, he's going to end up finishing the game with the rest of the team coming on in, but it was fantastic to see. Vitality, game one was rough for them, but they really turned it around. I think Yamato Cannon, a huge factor in that, coming back with a very strong plan in the draft to enable players like Attila to really drive it home for Vitality.
Yeah, and that's a very good point because a lot of people looked at the draft in the semifinal against Sjokz and said, ooh, that's not great. You know, Yamato Cannon, what's happening here? There's barely any win conditions on your side or maybe like one successful early game play, and if that doesn't happen, the team just falls apart. But this one, because they knew they had an advantage in the mid lane, they could go back to these carries that Jiizuke played in spring when he was so successful and everyone was hyping him as one of these new big EU mid laners. It gave them more ways to play the game. It was not just about one play in the bottom lane. It was suddenly actually a lot about getting mid lane ahead, and then you can play these big team fights.
Well, that was fantastic. But for more on tonight's action, let's head over to Sjokz and friends in the ULCS post-game lobby.
Hello everyone and welcome to the post-game lobby live from the Palacio Vista Alegre. Kikis, you were just saying your volume needed to go up. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sjokz.
Okay, good. Great. So that's all in order. Then congratulations, guys. Incredible feat beating Misfits here. Can I just get a first reaction out of both of you? Jiizuke maybe first?
Like, I was so wasted at the end of the series and I was just dying. So, I don't know. We were winning and I was singing him, guys, I can't tell them, I know Lulu is coming and Sion is coming, but I can't tell my tears, they're coming. Oh. Help me, guys. I was like fainting on stage.
So you were almost crying at the end of the game. So did anyone help you or were you just like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna cry?
I was just rushing on Lulu one last time, but I was crying, I was like moving to the bottom, but I was like, the guys, they're going on me, but help me. They're going on me.
Oh, fantastic. Kikis, are you then the level-headed guy? Were you calm and did you say, team, come on, we still need to finish this. This is so important.
I think I'm the type of guy that holds his emotion until the very end. So we didn't qualify for Worlds, right? Like third place match, like being third place, of course, it's really nice, and it shows that we are still a good team, and beating Misfits is good. But I'm still waiting for Fnatic to win tomorrow, right? And then I think I'm gonna drop my emotions, right? Because in the Schalke series, when we're even 0-2, right? There's no space for any kind of emotion during the series, but then after the series, everything like comes running like a truck. So
yeah.
Kikis, I have a follow-up because one of my favorite memories was you winning with G2 Esports, jumping up and down on stage, but watching the entire Vitality team hug, crying, emotion. I mean, it's a level of investment we don't see from teams. So what sort of feeling is that with the team when you can celebrate and share and really be that happy?
I mean, Nick is like the biggest part of my life through anything, right? So of course it's a really good feeling, and for the whole year, that's like for the whole year I was playing in Polish League. People were doubting my skills and everything, and it just feels really good to achieve something, right?
Of course, we take a look there again at your coach was also extraordinarily excited. I don't see Yamato like that too often. The last time I saw him like that was when he qualified for Worlds with Splice and he got that milestone. What was it like, hugging Yamato at the end, and why do you think he was so emotional?
I think just by seeing me, he got emotional as well.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I was crying on the chair, he got emotional with me. But also, I mean, tomorrow I'm gonna be the best fanboy for Fnatic, but I think they're gonna win. So in me and Yamato's mind, we think that Fnatic win and we go Worlds. So that's why we're.
You're less careful. Kikis says we're gonna see, and you're like they're gonna win.
I know Fnatic, so I think they're gonna win. And tomorrow I'm gonna cheer them up really hard.
Listen, today this was an upset win. Today, all of the experts, all of the analysts, everybody I'd seen except for Sjokz and Pyra had said Misfits were gonna win. So. Is it something special? Why was it that all of the experts said you guys were going to lose? Let's start with Kikis first, and you showed up today.
I wanted to follow up to the others thingy because I think we're an emotional team in a good way. We take losses really hard and we take wins really well, I guess, and we cheer, but we bounce back really fast. And I think you can see that during the series that even after losing one game, we are still cheering, right? And then I need to ask, you repeat the question.
Yeah, no problem. I was just going to say, coming into today, you guys were the underdogs according to the experts and the analysts. Only Sjokz and Pyrotechnics had predicted you to win.
Good job, Sjokz.
Yeah,
there we go. But my question is, why do you think that was? Why and how did you overcome that to surprise everybody?
I don't really care what other people think. I didn't even know that they're favorites. Like in my mind, we were the favorites anyway. Even though after the semis, right, that we crashed, I guess, and people were the Vitality train just. Yeah, I don't really care too much about this.
I think that's important, but Kikis, you also know, that's people like to talk that way, but you are the guy who time and time again shows them up. And Jiizuke, the same goes for you. We looked at you as the guy are you becoming someone who cannot perform in playoffs? You know, it happened in the third place match. There were a lot of question marks about champion pool and whatnot. Can you tell me how you think you did in this series and if you showed people wrong today?
Like going into this Misfits game, I'm not gonna lie, we had the worst week of scrims I ever seen in 2 splits. But still, going in this week, I told everyone that I wanted to play around mid, and if I'm the focus, I knew that I will get really ahead and snowball the whole game, and that's what happened. But I don't know. I didn't even see any reactions of people saying Misfits win, blah blah. Like I thought that if I perform, we had the series, no matter what. Like going into this game, I thought the series would be 3-0 actually.
So it was 3-1.
The fact that we lost one game,
so
just a warm-up game.
No,
I'm
going to cut you off because we got to talk about the player of the series, and this is kind of perfect. Jiizuke, you were the player of the series, voted on Twitter, 71% of the votes. That is not something we see very often. They agree with you. You rocked today.
I mean, I'm really surprised. Usually, Kikis steal every single player of the series. So
my media is really insane.
I'm really surprised.
This guy is really insane. Best media.
I'm really surprised. I beat the Polish fans. What can I say?
He's got to be strong. So tell me about then, you know, champion pool issues and whatnot today. None of that, but still, game 1 on Syndra, even though you had a fine game, it was a rough one for you guys. So what was kind of the bounce back strategy into games 2, 3, and 4 eventually?
Like, for the team it was a rough game, but for me, like, I was 20, 30 CS up. So, like, I knew my role in the game. And I went to the second game, third game, thinking that I can do the same every game. So, everyone else was a bit down, but myself, I don't know. The game was over and I was smiling because I died top, and I was like, but why they're ending the game? Like, I didn't know. I wanted to go for a super play, so everything was worth, but I didn't realize. So at the end, anyway, I was laughing, legit. So I didn't took it wrong at all.
I had a little bit of fun with Deficio in the cast because he was talking about some of the scaling champions that you guys had picked. And specifically was looking at Kikis on Gragas and was like, does Gragas know you can just, does Kikis know you can just farm on Gragas? Because it felt like you just wanted to pick fights and go in all the time. Is that a conscious decision? Is that something that as a team you're just like, hey, we're going to chase every opportunity? Or is that just a Kikis special that you really like to, you know, play for the win?
I think I just play what I think is correct to play. Like correct way of playing the game, and I'm just doing this. And I think, okay, actually there were a few scenarios in this series that I just flashed because I was scared, I guess. But usually I think I play the same way I do in scrims on stage. So yeah, like that's just my playstyle, and I'm not really afraid to make plays and screw up sometimes, right?
A couple more questions to wrap up the series, guys. You said it time and time again. You want to play the final. God damn it! How has this made you more hungry for possibly Worlds and just playing an EU LCS final as soon as you can and being on the biggest stage? Is your hunger even bigger? Because Jiizuke, it is only your first year in professional play.
Like, of course, last week, like I've never been so sad in my life. Like I was on stage, we lost, and I didn't know what to feel really. Like I was empty. I'm seeing my teammates; they're really sad, but I did not know what to do because for me, I was seeing myself in finals already. I think this was our playoffs that we will get there, and I was picturing already us against Fnatic. And going into this week, I didn't want to feel like that ever again. So I legit tried for my life.
Of course, and I mean, if we think back, you're pretty confident that Fnatic is going to win. If they don't, though, you got to keep that level-headedness that you guys still have to play the gauntlet. So how are you going to make sure that on the one hand, you're trying to support Fnatic, because then you're locked in, but on the other hand, you actually need to be concentrated on practicing and preparing for the gauntlet?
I'm ready for that as well. I think the Jiizuke that you saw today, if we have to go gauntlet, you will see it again.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about that possible gauntlet. Misfits would be in it no matter what. You played them today. What do you think of their chances in the regional qualifier, Kikis?
I think when we are there, they have no chances. But if we are out, I guess they have most chances out of the remaining teams. I think they're still like, of course, they're a strong team, and I think they prepare well for all of the matches and for best of fives, right? I think in best of fives they are better than in best of ones, and it showed in 1 week from inting like the second half of the split to showing really good and giving Fnatic like headache and run for the finals, right? So yeah, I really respect their players, and I think Maxlore is a really good jungler, and it was pretty hard to play against him in the series, right? Because he had really good idea, like plan for the game in the first game, and he shut me down completely. I was running, I think it was minute 20, had 0 stacks on Kindred. I felt so useless. No one made me feel that way.
You were useless.
I'm on the other side, right? Because usually I make people that way. So.
Yeah. So now for Kikis, you may go to Worlds. I keep being careful because, you know, nothing is decided yet, and you realize that as well. You've already won an EU LCS title. You have done so much, and you've now crawled back out of the depths of not being on a team, playing in Challenger. What would it mean to you if you were able to show what you have at Worlds after those years?
Everything. I don't think there's a better word for how long I've been trying to get to Worlds, right? And I dropped out of the teams due to unlucky circumstances and me not being mature enough and dealing with the situation. And I think I matured a lot, and just because I made bad decision, my career looked the way it looked. I think if I didn't make the decision I did, my career would be like, let's say right now it's starting, right? I have huge, like big chances to go towards, and I think that should have been 3 years ago, but I'm not a guy that regrets things, and I just bounce back and just go forward.
And of course, to Jiizuke, your first year in the LCS, you're this close to Worlds. What would it mean to you to go up against the best mid laners on the planet?
Well, I wish it was finals into Worlds, but I guess I have to be happy with it. But it means a lot because, like, I came to LCS and I was a fanboy of every single mid laner, and I'm like, now I have to play against them. Like, I have to make them my rivals. And it's same about Worlds. I am gonna go against mid laners that I respect really hard, and I'm a fanboy of all of them, so it's gonna be hard to play. But still.
Which mid laner from the EU LCS were you the biggest fanboy of before you qualified for the LCS?
Caps, Nuktak. I was a big fan of them. Perks as well, but Perks slowing down a little bit after his first year. So like last year when I was competing as well and watching every competition, I was a big fan of Caps Nuktak. Yeah? Even if Nuktak didn't perform well, like I think watching scrims.
It's his year this year now. It wasn't his year last year.
Yeah. Like watching his scrims, his solo queue and stuff like that. I was a big fan. Yeah?
Well, perfect. Let's talk a bit more about Caps versus Nuktak and about Fnatic versus Schalke tomorrow, the final. You guys already said, of course, you hope that Fnatic wins, but why do you think it is that they're big favorites in this matchup, or if you disagree?
I think their mid jungle duo is better than Schalke. And I think they're going to get a lot of advantage from there. And I just hope that they don't sorry for
That's okay.
they don't pick scaling mid laner like they did with Misfits. I think if Caps goes for laning phase and snowballing, I think they have a good shot of winning the whole thing.
So Kikis, how does Schalke win this tomorrow?
But I think Fnatic will win.
Okay.
There's not gonna be much competition from Schalke, so I think Schalke can win if Broxa underperforms, I guess, because I think amazing. She showed he's really good and he keeps surprising, but still Broxa is really amazing jungler, and together with Caps, I don't think Nuktak amazing can stand a chance. And both teams have similar playstyle of having the games slower than like us and Misfits, and I think like Reckless will just farm. He's gonna be like 200 farm 0-0 to stun a minute 20 and then popping off one team fight. Top lane, I don't think Chachi can like try to snowball or anything. I think both top lane and bot lane will be pretty even matchups, farming for late, and then mid lane jungle is gonna make a difference. And I'm not counting on Nuktak and amazing to like try to fight Caps and Broxa.
But what about the fact that Schalke matched Splice's late game and team fights? Schalke matched your early game. You talked about them being slower. Every opponent they've come up against in this playoffs, they've figured out how to beat them.
I mean, last week I think we just hinted really hard. Like
It can be both.
how
Jiizuke.
rarely. Huh?
It could be both, Jiizuke. You could intend it.
Yeah, like
You have to be good enough to catch a throw sometimes.
Yeah, like for sure, I think anything can happen when under pressure. Like when I was watching finding Misfits, they were having a hard time winning actually some games. I don't remember what was the score actually. But and then Schalke Vitality, our early games were the worst I ever seen in history. So we just picked the for early, and then they outscale, and then they win. So I think anything can happen, but I still think Fnatic will take the win.
Yeah, we'll see. Tomorrow, Kikis, you have something to add?
Yeah, our series against Schalke, I take a lot of responsibility for that because I think they just prepared really well against our playstyle. Like they see, like we played the same way we played in the last weeks, right? And they just had a good idea about that. I didn't really expect the Skarner pick, and I entered my build. I went Tiamat twice, and then we tried it 2v2, and I just got one shot, right? Because okay, the item is 1200 gold, and it gives 0 defensive statistics. Imagine you have Red Smite and Ruby Crystal. So I think the best of 5 started after those 2 games because of my fault, and then
Don't take all the blame.
the third game it was our normal style, and then 4th game we just make mistakes. That
What I
happen,
always hear when people get underplayed as a team is like, yeah, well, you know, I think Reckless said the same thing after the Misfits match. He was like, well, they only won because we effed up in draft or whatever. Everything belongs to the game. Your enemy feeding belongs to the game. Your enemy doing well belongs to the game. The draft belongs, everything does. So I would give a bit more credit personally to Schalke because I also think that they have just, you just said it, they had a really good game plan and it took a while for them to come online, but some of those guys are online. Upset is doing amazingly and he might feel this is the moment. I don't want to sway your opinion and I know I can't, but I do think they have a chance to make this a very competitive series. Let me put it that way.
I agree with that, and I think if you look at the semi-final performance as well, Reckless got carried. Like, Caps put the entirety of Fnatic in his backpack, and he had a phenomenal performance. Now, please, kudos. Reckless did what he needed to do.
Don't track back, just say.
I'm not. You look at the Vayne game, it's Reckless that sits back and goes, look, can you win? And Caps goes, yes, and gives it to him. Caps makes the outplay, and it works, right? And kudos, that's what the team is doing, and they're playing around their star player. I think Nukeduck in his current form can contain Caps, and if Nukeduck can beat Caps, then these guys are going to be panicking because they're going to be final boss in the regional qualifier.
I think what will happen, top is farm just an island. Upset, if he has a better matchup, he will go 15 CS up. And Caps Broxa will win the mid jungle. And even if their bot lane is ahead, it doesn't matter because Reckless is, has either a better late game because his matchup is bad, but his skills better into late game, I think. So I think that's what will happen.
I mean, I think mid lane can determine it, right? If Nukeduck can shut down Caps, I think that's how Schalke gets it.
Yeah, like of course. I think the only way Schalke wins if Caps and Broxa underperform. That's the only way.
I also want to add that, yeah, you guys are right, because it seems like I'm downplaying how well Schalke played against us, and they prepared really well, and they played really well on that day against us. And yeah, I really respect them as the players, right? Because they went from inting the first split, I think, not making playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And then in the second, they went on like a 8 winning streak, and everyone was like downplaying amazing that he's not so good and he's like Diamond 1 or whatever, and he doesn't have what it takes to achieve that, right? And actually respect amazing still. Like we were close friends before, maybe changed a bit, but I still really respect him as a player, that he can just keep bouncing like I do, I guess.
Yeah.
And we are like old squad kind of.
We talked about it. Ace are amazing back in the day as well.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Season 1, Season 2, it's like a long time you guys have been playing.
So I'm not a sore loser, and I admit that they were much better against us. So I just want to say that I don't want to.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No.
You have a right to your opinion, but I think it's right and amazing. For instance, what a story from that guy as well.
I have a question though, because you guys have already said it. Fnatic are going to win tomorrow, right? So let's assume that happens. Schalke are final boss in the Gauntlet. G2 are in round 2, and Splice and Misfits play each other in round 1. Of those 4 teams, who wins the Gauntlet, Kikis?
Misfits for sure.
All right,
You believe they're going to make the run?
Jiizuke?
It's really hard to say actually, but I think Misfits or Schalke. I mean, actually, like we didn't see G2 for a while, but if they fix their mistakes, then they're really good.
Opportunity,
rival.
op chance.
Like they're a good rival as well for all the teams remaining there.
All right. Well, if anything, it's really good if you're a fan of League of Legends because we have the Gauntlet next week. We have the final tomorrow. Finally, before we go on or before we go off, there are some fans left here and there are also fans at home. I'm going to give you each the chance to just talk to them after winning a huge victory here today. You want to go first?
I'm sorry, I didn't
do
understand.
you want to say something to your fans at home and some of them that are left here? I see there are some Polish fans still there for Kikis. So
I want to thank first the Spanish crowd there. Like, I was feeling every time I was making a play, the table was just shaking. And when I did the play on Zillion Sion bot,
you were like
I
this?
put my hand like this. And they were all shouting and I could feel it. I want to really thank you guys.
We got that on camera, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it. It's going to be a GIF and a meme, I promise.
Yeah. And I want to thank my Italian fans. We did 4th place, now 3rd place. We did playoffs 2 times. And if we go worse, holy shit. And if we go worse, like, I think it's going to mean a lot for Italy. I want to thank everyone that cheers me up even after losses. Last week was a hard loss, and there were earthwarming comments for me, both on Twitter, both on Facebook. And I want to thank you all.
Fantastic. Kikis?
The classic, thank you everyone for supporting me, right? And I think everyone should become the biggest Fnatic fans right now, because if Fnatic wins, it means we go to Worlds. And also in Polish chciałbym podziękować wszystkim Polakom, którzy tutaj przyszli i którzy mnie wspierają, i też pozdrawiam swoją grupę na Facebooku Watachę, ponieważ naprawdę dajecie mi wsparcie. Dzięki wielkie.
Awesome. They stuck around for you until the end of the show. Guys, we're almost going to wrap it up. We do have TSM versus 100 Thieves coming up in the 3rd place match in NALCS. Can you guys wager a quick prediction there?
TSM.
TSM?
TSM.
TSM. Oh.
I kind of want them to lose.
You're just not making fans tonight. You're saying that Reckless got carried. You're saying you want TSM to lose.
I think Sven Media are really insane right now. Brexton as well. So
Yeah.
if you play around those 3, I think they have the win in the pocket.
Okay. Trevor, you sure?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of the biggest stories, and I love talking about the big stories. I love the drama behind it. I did, however, like Mithy talking about playing up against Afro Moon in a BO5. He was particularly excited about that. It's one of the matchups I'm going to be looking at as well. I think I want 100 Thieves to win, but probably TSM can take it.
Yeah, we will see what happens. It's coming up very soon. Countdown is going to kick off as well. For us, though, we are going to say goodbye for tonight at least. You can watch the rebroadcast of today after the 3rd place match at the NALCS wraps up. And we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you tomorrow, Spain, for the final, Fnatic versus Schalke. Good night, buenas noches, y a mañana.
Cheers.
And I love hearing that roar. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for the finals weekend here in Spain. Cabochard still in amongst the fight. He's looking for the decimating smash. Knocks off a few. Attila's silenced. He can't throw out the Qs because the feral scream is so powerful. Forced arcane shift defensively, running for his life. Hansama shuts him down. Mikyx, Sencux, everybody enabling Hansama. The knock up into the air. The triple kill. It's a quadra. Not gonna happen as Maxlore takes him down. Misfits win game 1.
And it was just a warm-up game for us. It's time to bring our A game.
Jiizuke also ticked over.
All right, take a look at this. Sencux is going to get dived. Nethergrot, very good onto Kikis. Kikis will get the chrono shift. First blood picked up by Kikis.
I love it.
Nice one.
Cabochard now survives at Nethergrot. Here's the re-engage. Chrono shift is buying some time.
And Cabochard just got a kill. They're still on Jiizuke.
It's not done yet. Vitality, they are continuing the push. The Nexus turret's on the focus.
What is going on? They're diving the tower. They're looking for the win.
Look at that AoE damage from Jiizuke. Not going to be enough to finish it up just yet. Attila does get chunked very, very low, and Alphari will be the final member to go down. 3 items.
Oh!
Jiizuke is already blown up Sencux.
Oh my god. It's fine, it's fine.
Jiizuke and Attila remain alive, pushing backwards. Attila, killer instinct forward. He's got 1, looking for 2, 3, 4. That's all of Misfits wiped. Vitality bust open the base, destroy the Nexus, and are 1 win away from 3rd place. Now Jiizuke is in trouble. He gets caught by the Glitch.
Jactroll's coming
on too. But with Jactroll's help, it's Mikyx that goes down.
But it has been long enough, it certainly feels like, but he doesn't get it. The kill goes to Jiizuke, a disaster for Misfits.
And for Vitality, it is a matter of time. Jiizuke looks to blow up Sencux, takes him out underneath the fountain, and Vitality are 1 step closer to Worlds. Vitality are your 3rd best team in Europe.